We are kicking off today with Gunther, who has been a force to be reckoned with since arriving in WWE, and now fans can expect to see the Ring General for a long time to come. During an interview on the Ariel Helwani show, Gunther shared that he signed a new contract with WWE in late 2024, and he got a massive added perk, his own tour bus. Gunther shared that he asked for the bus and WWE agreed to it, a perk typically reserved for the very top stars of the company, including Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton. In December, PW Insider reported that WWE was finalizing a deal that'd keep Gunther around for years to come, and this bus only shows how highly WWE thinks of the world champion. Are you excited that Gunther is under a new deal? What would you like to see next for the World Heavyweight Champion? Share your thoughts down in the comments section below. From one high-profile name to another, as CM Punk shocked the world by returning to WWE in 2023, and he has been a central part of storylines ever since. Now fans can expect more from Punk, as Fightful Select reports that Punk is working under a contract that was redone in 2024. The belief is that Punk will likely work between 15 to 30 matches a year, a number that is based off what WWE has said and includes TV, PLE, and non-televised matches. Since returning to WWE, Punk has wrestled 22 times, and besides the Royal Rumble and Elimination Chambers, has had just 2 televised losses. These came from Drew McIntyre at SummerSlam 2024 and to Seth Rollins on Raw last month, though he's also suffered 3 live event losses to Gunther. Interestingly, Punk hasn't been advertised for any events post-WrestleMania 41, leaving fans wondering what's to come for the best in the world after the upcoming PLE next week. Whatever's next, fans can expect Punk back on TV with his reworked deal, and a win at WrestleMania Night 1's main event could push Punk into the world title picture. Now, it was less than a week ago that Tiffany, Stratton, and Charlotte Flair had their infamous segment on SmackDown, one that was described as a wreck according to Fightful sources. Though Charlotte went off script first, some in WWE feel that Tiffany went way too far in her rebuttal, and now the WWE Women's Champion has explained her actions. Appearing on the Babyfaces podcast, Stratton says she doesn't believe Flair thought she'd stand up for herself in the way she did, given that Tiffany is relatively new to the business. She added, "All I have to say is, it's live TV, stakes are high, we're going into WrestleMania. I think we did a very good job of getting people wanting to see our match and invested in our story. Now I'm ready to put on the best women's match ever and ready to go to war." Whether positive or negative, this segment has had the wrestling world talking about Tiffany, Stratton, and Charlotte Flair, with intrigue as to how their match will go next week. Do you think Tiffany went too far by bringing up Charlotte's divorces, or is all fair when it comes to building hype towards a WrestleMania collision? Let us know your take in the comments. Hall of Fame news now, as this year's class has grown considerably now that the promotion has announced 3 names to be inducted as part of this year's Legacy class. On Twitter, WWE confirmed that Kamala, Dory Funk Sr., and Ivan Koloff will be inducted, though all 3 inductees will be posthumous. Known for his signature face paint and unique attire, Kamala was a staple of WWE in the late 80s and early 90s, and enjoyed memorable feuds with The Undertaker and Hulk Hogan. Dory Funk Sr. was the patriarch of the Funk wrestling family, and in addition to training, Dory Jr. and Terry Funk also experienced success inside of the Squared Circle. As for Koloff, his biggest win came in early 1971 when he won the WWF title from Bruno Sammartino, ending Bruno's record-shattering 2,803-day reign with the title. These 3 men will join Triple H, Michelle McCool, Lex Luger, and the Natural Disasters, as well as the Bret Hart vs. Steve Austin WrestleMania 13 match as this year's inductees. WWE has once again pulled out all the stops for this year's Hall of Fame, setting up an epic evening of nostalgia for fans in Las Vegas next week. Over to AEW Dynamite, as a serious injury unfolded during this week's show, one that may have a major impact for the status of the AEW Trios Championships. During Dynamite, Swerve Strickland confronted the Young Bucks, angry about the pair costing him the world title at AEW Dynasty, but before he could finish, Pac ambushed him from behind. Pac started strong, but the mogul fought back with brutal intensity and would get the victory in a match that was much shorter than you'd expect given the talents involved. This match ended quickly after Pac appeared to land awkwardly on a buckle bomb, prompting both wrestlers to accelerate towards the finish. Pac could be seen clutching his leg and rolled out of the ring, where he was checked by medical staff and needed help being taken to the backstage area. Hopefully, this was just a stinger, though nothing is certain, and Pac choosing to finish this match was either a sign of resilience or simply stubborn toughness by the Trios champion. Regardless, Swerve needed a big win after AEW Dynasty, and he looked lethal throughout, maintaining control even after falling behind early. Jon Moxley was able to get a win over Katsuyori Shibata in the first match of the evening, but the Young Bucks appeared after the match, much to the surprise of the AEW World Champion. Explaining attacking Swerve, the Young Bucks claimed they acted out of loyalty to their friend Hangman Adam Page and offered their support to the Death Riders as a peace gesture. Kenny Omega then interrupted, mocking the Bucks, and when Kazuchika Okada came out to threaten the cleaner, Swerve Strickland stormed in with a steel chair. This was a star-studded segment that came after a brilliant opening match, one that showcased Moxley's dangerous presence while also emphasizing Shibata's technical prowess. Shibata out-wrestled the champion early on, leaving Moxley to capitalize on Shibata's injury history by dropping him on his head with a pile driver in a smart display of storytelling. As the Death Riders angle nears its climax heading into All In, Moxley's message remains muddled in words, but his intent is that he wants AEW's locker room to unite around him. The Ops have now stepped up to challenge the champions, but they remain outnumbered, especially with the Young Bucks potentially backing Mox. AEW's seamless progression from the Moxley match to the Bucks and Omega to Swerve was a strong example of the intersecting stories at the top of the card. It was also important to see Omega address the Bucks, two men who nearly ended his career, and setting up what will be an exceptional match down the line. MJF interrupted the Hurt Syndicate's Dynasty victory celebration, acting as though he was already part of the group, and while Bobby Lashley objected, MVP stepped in between them. He told MJF that joining required a unanimous vote. Shelton Benjamin gave a thumbs down, seemingly killing MJF's dreams of being a member of the faction. This segment worked thanks to the chemistry between the Salt of the Earth and the Almighty, who blended tension and comedic timing to make this angle work. The fact that MVP explained what MJF needs to do to become a member could lead to him trying to earn the group's trust or feuding with them through All In. Whichever direction this goes, this is the most compelling angle the Hurt Syndicate has had in AEW, giving them a solid spot in ongoing storylines. Backstage, MJF was frustrated about being rejected, but in addition to confronting MVP, the Salt of the Earth had some choice words for his real-life girlfriend. When Alicia Atout asked the Hurt Syndicate about MJF, Lashley said the devil is not to be trusted, though Shelton Benjamin compared MJF to Seinfeld's George Costanza. When MJF arrived, though, he told Atout that this was an AB conversation and directed her to see your skank little out of here. As if that wasn't enough, MJF smacked Atout on the buttocks as she left, saying, "I'll see you around," in a shocking moment for fans who know of the couple's real-life relationship. From there, MJF confronted MVP about joining the faction, but MVP was cool and collected, telling MJF, "We know exactly who you are," and adding that this is a business deal. These interactions were raw and felt real, and once again showed that MJF is always willing to cross the line between kayfabe and real life, even when it comes to his girlfriend. At WWE Elimination Chamber Toronto, Trish Stratus returned to the ring to team with Tiffany Stratton and get the victory over Nia Jax and Candice LeRae. 2025 marks 25 years since Trish debuted in WWE, and while fans were excited to see more from her after the PLE, there's been a lack of satisfaction on WWE programming ever since. Speaking on the hump, Sean Ross Sapp was asked for updates on Trish's situation and shared that she's always in the conversation about a potential return to the ring. Stratus herself is always pitching stuff to WWE, and Sapp said that around the time of the Royal Rumble, he heard that Stratus was going to do more with the company. While it's unclear when Trish Stratus will return to WWE, she clearly has a deep connection to this day, meaning a return to the ring may not be a question of if, but when for the Canadian. But what do you think? What would you like to see from Trish Stratus in WWE in 2025? Perhaps a role at the rumored Evolution 2 PLE? Share your ideas down in our comments section. One name fans are eagerly awaiting to see again is John Cena, and now fans will get the opportunity to see him one more time ahead of WrestleMania 41. On WWE.com, it's been confirmed that Cena will be a part of the April 18th edition of SmackDown, the go-home show before WrestleMania. There's no word on what John will be doing at SmackDown, though fans can expect him to address his upcoming title match with undisputed WWE Champion Cody Rhodes. After vowing to ruin wrestling and referencing Tony Khan, there's no telling what Cena will have to say, but fans in Las Vegas' T-Mobile Arena will get to see Cena live next Friday. Ever since social media came along, wrestling fans have been able to make their voices heard about booking, sometimes resulting in a promotion changing its plans. It's arguable that Daniel Bryan's 2014 push may not have come had fans worldwide not made themselves heard online, but now Nick Khan has weighed in to fans commenting online. Speaking on the NAB show in Las Vegas, Khan shared his view that it's best for WWE to not let social media influence their programming, calling the idea a mistake. Khan said that when it comes to WWE, we have to trust our gut, rejecting the notion that WWE should backtrack on storyline plans if the fans reject the concept. Khan was adamant in his stance, but do you think WWE should essentially ignore comments by fans, or should the company be willing to change its on-screen angles? Let us know below. It was back in September 2024 that Hikuleo joined WWE, and though he was quickly assigned to NXT's internal roster, fans have yet to see him on screen. Since his signing, a lot has changed for his family in the bloodline, including Solo Sikoa no longer being recognized as a tribal chief, but what's to come for Hikuleo? While speaking during a Q&A session on Sportskeeda WrestleBinge, WrestleVotes was asked about him and said he expects Hikuleo to debut in NXT in May or June. When Hikuleo does eventually arrive on screen, fans can expect a big push for him, and WrestleVotes highlighted that the former New Japan star knows what he's doing. When Hikuleo was signed, Fightful Select noted that he wasn't factored into any creative plans, but now it appears that the time is drawing near for his big arrival. What are you hoping to see from Hikuleo when he eventually appears on WWE TV? Should he be placed into a role with his family members in the bloodline? Let us know in the comments. Back to AEW Dynamite as Tony Storm watched from commentary as Kris Statlander endured Thunder Rosa's best to get the win in the Owen Hart Women's Foundation tournament. This was a clash between two stalwarts of AEW's women's division, and the right competitor came out on top, all while Storm's unhinged commentary added to the energy. While she and Statlander are better friends than rivals, their dynamic elevated the segment, and Kris has bounced back nicely after her recent loss to Megan Bayne. As for Thunder Rosa, she is struggling to reach world title contention and return to the spot she once held, and a major character change, perhaps even a heel turn, could be what she needs. As Chris Jericho lambasted the learning tree, Big Bill cut him off, showing his frustration with how Jericho has treated him and Brian Keith. Jericho declared that he's not mad, just disappointed, before smashing a TV monitor and announcing he was leaving until they proved themselves. Jericho's manipulative tone was perfect for this villainous role, even if it is difficult to be invested in the learning tree at this point, as the group continues to lose relevance. With that said, Bill and Keith still have potential, and if this angle starts their move out from under Jericho's shadow, it could benefit both men. Perhaps the most promising element of this is the idea of Jericho hinting at time away, as returning with a refreshed character could do wonders for the Canadian wrestling legend. Fresh off of defeating Daniel Garcia at AEW Dynasty, the new TNT champion Adam Cole was on Dynamite with a blockbuster announcement about his future. Stood alongside Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong, Cole brought an end to their time as the Undisputed Kingdom, declaring that this trio is now known as the Paragon. This name has actually been in the works for some time, as AEW filed to trademark the Paragon in 2022, but plans were put on hold due to a string of untimely injuries to the group's members. Mike Bennett and Matt Taven, who made up the Kingdom part of the Undisputed Kingdom, were noticeably absent from this segment, indicating that they may not be a part of the Paragon. With that said, Cole didn't confirm their status one way or the other in the segment, and for now, fans can expect the Paragon to wreak havoc with the TNT title in its grasp. In the main event, Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta took on Samoa Joe and Hook, but Jon Moxley would get involved to distract the referee. Seeking payback for earlier in the night, Katsuyori Shibata caught Mox with a chokehold while Samoa Joe choked out Claudio Castagnoli outside. This left Hook alone to get the win over Wheeler Yuta, though the Death Riders retaliated by attacking him with a steel chair after the match. This enraged Joe, who warned that the Ops were taking the Trios Championship, though big questions remain about the titles given Pac's potential injury. This was a fine enough main event, but the real highlight came after the match, and Dynamite ended with the powerful image of Joe vowing violent retribution on the Death Riders. It's arguable that no one has sold the threat of the Death Riders quite like Samoa Joe, and taking the Trios titles from Moxley's acolytes could mark the beginning of the end for the faction. In 8-man tag team action, Will Ospreay, Mike Bailey, Mark Briscoe, and Kevin Knight bested Ricochet, Lio Rush, Action Andretti, and Beast Mortos to win $400,000 for their team. Even with the only narrative being the money stipulation, these 8 men delivered compelling action and hinted at a bright future for AEW. Ospreay was the de facto leader of his team, constantly protecting and supporting his allies at every stage, and this leadership could put him at odds with the Death Riders soon enough. Though this may make the Owen Hart men's tournament seem predictable, Ospreay could be the clearest path to ending the Death Riders' reign of terror in AEW. And that was this week's Dynamite, which had a lot to do to follow up on what transpired last week at the Dynasty pay-per-view. The $400,000 tag team match was the best match in terms of wrestling and showcased several standout talents, and the Statlander Rosa match delivered on the women's side of things. The biggest downside from this show was the potential injury to Pac, and we hope to have further clarification on his situation when information is made available. As for the main event scene, Strickland and Omega are front and center for AEW's Road to All In, while the Ops could prove to be too much for the Death Riders. But what did you think of this week's show? Did it deliver after AEW Dynasty? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments section. On TV, Saraya is known for her no-nonsense attitude, but that extends to her real life, especially when a friend of hers is being insulted and harassed. Speaking on the Lightweights podcast, Saraya recalled being at a party at the House of Fandango with several wrestlers when a girl came over and was very aggressive. Saraya said that this person was drunk and tried to make everything about her and would then insult Natalya, including calling the Canadian the N-word. This awful act was followed up by the woman confronting Saraya and flipping her cap off of her head, and Saraya snapped and proceeded to headbutt this person. Saraya would drag the girl and rough her up and said on the podcast that what she said at the time would certainly not make it onto any wrestling show. Saraya, like many female stars, and let this be a lesson to anyone who wants to disrespect a friend of the former WWE and AEW star. And we're ending with more from Saraya, who has shared that she plans on training with Natalya in the Dungeon 2.0, leaving some speculating about a return to WWE in the near future. Speaking on Sportskeeda's Wrestle Binge, WrestleVotes shared that nothing is planned in the short term, but some believe that there is a decent shot she'll be involved with Evolution 2. Whether this is the start of a full-time return or a part-time comeback or even just a one-time, that's unclear right now, but Saraya returning at the all-women's event would be a big deal. Saraya told WrestleZone earlier this month that she hasn't spoken to WWE yet, but she isn't counting out the idea of a return to the promotion if the right circumstances come along. Do you want to see Saraya back, possibly at the PLE rumored for July this year? Share your thoughts and feedback down in the comments section.